aside and I said, okay, I hope you're all happy. See, you know, I was good to you, I gave you half. And that's what he did. He signed 6 anti-gun bills, and he vetoed 6 very bad bills. And we appreciate the bills that he vetoed. The semi-automatic ban, he vetoed, and a bunch of other stuff that we were very hard to defeat. That was a good thing, and we appreciate that. The media called me and said, Sam, aren't you happy that he only signed 6? Well, I said, if you can be happy getting shot in the heart only 6 times instead of 12 times, I'm happy. And you know what? 1 shot hurts, and I'm not happy. So, the bills that he signed. And my goal here is, in my time slot, in my segment, because I'm very looking forward to our next speaker and hearing his presentation, I want to try to answer every question that you might have on guns. And if we can't do it during that slot, I'm going to hang out afterwards, and I'll answer any questions that you might have afterwards. And then I'm going to have a stack of cards over there so you can send me an email or a text and ask your questions, because I want to be able to answer any questions you have on guns. I don't want you to get in trouble. Although good law-abiding citizens in North County don't get in trouble. That's the way it is. So, 6 bills. Number 1, 2, and 3. The governor signed 3 bills that require law-abiding citizens to lock up their guns in a safe or with trigger locks under various circumstances. 1, if they have kids. 2, if they know or should know, which is the key question, that somebody who is prohibited comes to their house. If they have a kid or nephew or cousin, you know, crazy Uncle Larry who has a rap sheet and felonies and comes to your home, you have to have your guns locked up. And then you have to have them locked up if there's a chance that somebody might get them and take them out and do some sort of evil deed with your guns. So 3 separate bills that set separate conditions as to how you need to keep your guns locked up. Here's the problem. Heller versus Washington, D.C. If you don't remember, here's the short way around the horn. It was a ruling that said, by the Supreme Court, that said that the right to keep and bear arms is an individual right that is inherent to everybody. Everybody has this right to keep and bear arms. And then it said, based on this case, which the lawsuit was filed because Washington, D.C. required its residents to, if they were blessed to have a permit to have a gun, very few handguns, or pretty much no handguns, but if they gave you a permit to have a shotgun or a rifle, you had to have it in your home, disassembled and locked up. Disassembled and locked up. That was the only condition where you could have your gun in your own home. Well, Heller said that although the government may be able to require you to buy a safe or a trigger lock, the government cannot require you to lock up your guns in your own homes, period. The Second Amendment not only was it a standard against tyranny, but it was a standard for defense in your own home. And anything the government does that makes it more difficult for you in your own home to have immediate access of your guns to defend yourselves in your home is unconstitutional. So those 3 laws, it's just a matter of time, will be declared unconstitutional. Now, Heller only applied to Washington, D.C. and any federal enclaves, national parks, any national property. That's why McDonald versus Chicago was accepted by the Supreme Court. This case, the Supreme Court said, not only is that right so inherently important to the order, liberty, and freedom in America, that it cannot be infringed by state and local governments either. And that's what we did, Jerry. Of course, Jerry asked the Supreme Court to, he wrote an amicus brief. Everybody says, oh, Jerry was really good. He wrote an amicus brief asking the Supreme Court to accept this lawsuit to define the Second Amendment. Well, for him, it was an oops, because the court, with that ruling, the 3 laws that he signed on safe storage, called safe storage, were unconstitutional. Now, I'm going to just finish it off here. Every gun accident is avoidable, and every gun accident is a tragedy. The fact that we have so few gun accidents that happen in California in particular, and really throughout America, shows that Americans are responsible and they don't need the federal or the state or the local government to tell them what they need to do in their own homes to be safe. When you take into account that there are 400 million guns in America, 40 million guns in California, owned by all of us, and if you have a real big share of that, I'd like to talk to you because I'd like to see what you got. Especially if it's a collection of .364 model 70 Winchesters, including some of the really hard to get. Or if you're military folks and you have the 1911s all the way back to the original 1911 without the A1 and all that stuff, I'd like to talk to you. The Rands, shoot, I even like AR-15s and M16s and M4s and all of those. I'm an equal opportunity gun lover. So, the reality is that we're going to take them to court. We're going to go ahead and sue them in time. We will get those 3 laws off the books. One of the other laws that was signed into by Governor Jerry Brown says that, well, imagine this. Next time you go to the Department of Motor Vehicles to renew your license, or youngsters to get your license for the first time, you're going to have to take a test that shows that you know how to drive a motorcycle, an 18-wheeler, water tender, and a car. And if you fail any portions of that test, you don't get your driver's license, even though you have no intention on ever driving one of those other vehicles. Well, he signed a bill that said that instead of the handgun safety certificate, all of you folks, especially Mary, know what that is. When you go and buy a handgun, you have to take this goofy test. And I know that the test, everybody in this room could go like this and pass the test with no problem. But the reality is, you know what? Government shouldn't be requiring us to pass a test in order to exercise our constitutional rights. Nonetheless, it's on the books. Well, this new bill says that it has to include information on handguns, rifles, and shotguns. Well, what about if you're going to go and you're going to buy a shotgun and you don't want one of those handguns or a rifle? You have no intention of buying one. If you don't pass the portion of the test regarding those issues, you don't get your handgun. It's a problem. So it's another issue that we are going to take to court. And the 6th bill that he signed was the lead ammunition ban on hunting. You know, all of you know that in the what is called the historic Condor region of the state of California, which constitutes about 25% of the huntable area in the state. It's a big area. And we asked, how did you figure that out? And after listening to them, I boiled down the response. Oh, so if you think that a condor sometime in the last 300 or 400 years flew over and farted over the territory, that is historic condor area, right? Well, in essence, yeah. Okay, science, really good. Well, that worked so well, and actually it didn't. It's amazing. They haven't issued more than, I don't know that they've issued any tickets against hunters who have used lead where they're not supposed to use lead. We are law-abiding citizens, the hunters, law-abiding citizens, and we comply with the law, even though we hate it. We still comply with the law, and thankfully we join organizations to try to change the law and fix things, or to go to court to overturn them. But the condors are still getting lead poisoning. Imagine that. And every condor that is checked twice a year, every condor in the wild is checked by people twice a year, not to just leave the animals alone. No, they get them and they check them and they check them for lead poisoning, and if they have lead poisoning, they wrap them up and they send them to Griffith Park in Los Angeles, and they spend $100,000 in a dam to chelate the lead out of their blood. Can you imagine how much $100,000 would save kids' lives, or people who have medical issues and don't have the resources? But they get that money as grants, federal grants and stuff like that in order to treat the herders. So somehow, what they don't want to accept the fact is that condors get lead from living. They absorb lead. I mean, they see a shiny object. Oh, one of the places that they get lead is, you know, all of those Forest Service fire towers, lookout towers that are out throughout the entire state of California. And since we have so many mountains, we have lots of them. They're all been painted white with lead paint. And there are pictures of condors perched on these towers eating the chip paint off of these things. I wonder where they get lead. Well, you think, they thinking about going out and stripping the paint? No, they're not doing that. They want to end hunting. That's what their goal is. And so, starting 2019, after Jerry Brown leaves, that's when the law will go into effect, and we will not be able to have any ammunition on our persons when we are hunting of any kind whatsoever for any hunting period, or else we will be in violation of the law. The problem with that is that the federal government declares all of the non-lead ammunition, orange bullets and Nosler monolithics and all those things, they have them under the category of armor piercing, and therefore technically illegal. They haven't been enforcing it yet, but think about this. The VATF has a law, swinging over everybody's heads and just sucking everybody in. It's the only thing they can use, orange bullets and Noslers, like the new Hornadies, some of the other